In this video, we are talking about parts, and my hope for this video is that you understand what parts actually are by the time this video ends. So obviously you have heard of parts, but you are probably already using parts language and just not aware of it. An example is a friend asks you to dinner and a movie, and you respond, a part of me wants to go to dinner and a movie, and a part of me wants to stay home and have the time for myself. Everybody uses parts language in this way, and the truth is this is incredibly accurate because we are not just one singular thinking entity. We actually have many different parts with many different perspectives and many different concepts of what we should and shouldn't do in our life. So to understand ourselves as a multiplicity system rather than just one thing is incredibly helpful because we can have more spaciousness for parts that we don't necessarily always understand. We can also have more spaciousness for actions that we do that certain parts of us have a judgment about. We can also have more spaciousness for the feeling of, say, anxiety or depression or frustration, because we can recognize this as simply a part of our system and not the entirety of our system. So to deepen our connection with parts and how to reframe our communication around ourselves, an example could be, I feel anxious versus a part of me feels anxious. And with that little bit of change in languaging, you can literally feel the difference inside of your system. So parts allow us to have spaciousness. An understanding of parts allows us to have spaciousness. And parts allow us to have multiple perspectives, all operating for basically the same reason, which is to help you stay alive. And if we can get parts to believe that they don't necessarily have to be in survival mode, then their job changes from helping us stay alive to helping us thrive. And that's what we want to do in IFS. Now, there are really good times for parts of us to jump in to survival mode. That's why they're there. That is very, very important. But many of our parts don't really know that they are putting a lot of energy into survival mode when actually everything is pretty okay. We're doing pretty okay. There's not like a mountain lion coming out from the cave about to attack us. You know, we're doing all right. And so if we can help our parts understand that we don't necessarily need them to be in survival mode all the time, then they can take that energy and naturally change it into thriving mode. And that is really a beautiful place to be living from. So when it comes to IFS, this is the whole foundation of IFS. And the understanding of parts, it didn't just become created through IFS, which is a relatively recent modality. Understanding parts and parts work and the concept of a multiplicity system, it's been around for a long time. But the nice thing about IFS is that it helps us track parts in a more sequential way, in a way that we can almost better contextualize what is truly going on in our system at any given time. So we may have parts that show up in our system as a thought, as a feeling, as a body sensation, as a visual, possibly as a dream, and sometimes as a kind of a culmination of all of those things. And knowing that, we have a lot of different resources inside of ourselves to look for different parts that could be active. This is where it comes back to creating a place of self. And self is something that is at the peak place of consciousness inside every human being. And in other modalities, this place is called presence, maybe mindfulness. There's probably some other terms for it. The three main concepts of self are calm, curious, and compassionate. So circled by all these different parts in our system is this place called self. And if we can use these different ways of looking for and having self-awareness for parts that are active, we can find more space for self to emerge. And self is really the principal place we want to be making decisions from. If we have a part that we want to call in to help us, or a part pops up and says, hey, I can help you, we ideally want to be in a place of self to make that decision and to say, yes, step on in, come on over, help me out. We don't necessarily want parts to just pop up on their own and take over. Now, this can happen, and it probably is happening for you, and that's part of the reason that you've chosen this program. Doing this program is going to help you understand and form a relationship with parts from a place of self so that you have more options when it comes to choosing how those parts actually show up in your system on the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the year-to-year.